First of all, bless you for what you do. I mean, this is a heavy lift. When you listen to the list of problems with the human rights abuses and the shootings and murders and everything else, it's easy. It's really easy to get discouraged, particularly when we've done some pretty heavy lifting, particularly financially, to try to lift this thing, and it just goes unrewarded. So it's difficult, and look, there's all kinds of problems on the continent, and they seem like they keep getting worse. And as I've looked at it, I don't think this one is the worst, but probably got to be pretty close to it. You know, in recent months, there's been a half a dozen coups, as you know, on the continent. One country had 2 coups. As I was sitting here, I was just handed a note that in Guinea-Bissau, they've gunfire has just broken out near the presidential palace where a cabinet meeting is being held. So probably got another one going on there. Give us some hope here. I heard the antiseptic recitation of what you've told them and how you insist on this and that, but give us some hope that we can look forward to seeing things improve, because it just to see the backward sliding as bad as it's been, and particularly with everybody trying to help, it's really disheartening. So, Ms. V, why don't you start and see? Give me something to feel good about.
Thank you, Ranking Member. And first, let me say, I think everyone shares the disappointment and frustration in the current state of events. But I do have hope. I've had the opportunity in my brief time in this new assignment to travel to Khartoum twice. And you know, I've been in a lot of difficult places in the world. The Sudanese people are amazing. They are committed, they are creative, they have a vision for what they want, and they're not going to let that vision go. And I haven't seen that kind of strength and cohesion in other difficult environments in which I've worked. Also, the security forces in Sudan are difficult, but they are not monolithic. Some of them, I think, truly would like to effect a transition. They don't know how to do it. They're falling back on their old playbook. So I think there's really an opportunity for diplomacy here. I'm excited by so many players in the region, in the international community, who want to support the Sudanese, who have their own agency and their own vision for their country. So I believe that that's the strength that we haven't seen in other environments, that this is not only in the capital, but it's in the many different diverse areas of Sudan. So I think we need to continue to support them. It's not, frankly, a surprise that this transition is difficult. I think we need to have an approach that can absorb shocks that will be inevitable, continue to put the pressure on, continue to provide the kind of technical assistance that the Deputy Administrator referred to. So that's how I look at it right now, sir.
Well, thanks so much for that. I hope that's a realistic appraisal of the conditions there on the ground. I can understand how a population has the commitments and enthusiasm and optimism that you've described, but if they don't have the guns and the other side's got the guns, that's difficult. Also, the issue of the armed forces, where they are not monolithic, that sword cuts both ways, because if they're not monolithic, they don't have a strong leader that can actually talk everybody into laying down their guns and doing things peacefully. So that sword cuts both ways. I hope you're right. Ms. Coleman, you want to take a shot at this?
Yes, thank you, Senator. I think I would just underscore what Assistant Secretary Fee has noted, which is the incredible resiliency of the Sudanese people and the vibrancy of this movement. Despite the security forces turning their guns on all of these people too often over the last 2 years, they continue to come out into the streets. They continue to mobilize and protest peacefully. And we have seen just a remarkable determination not to give up. People taking such courageous acts, speaking out, starting new media, There's a woman who was a spokesperson in the Prime Minister's office who USAID supported with communications while the civilian leader was in his role. After Prime Minister Hamdok left, she left too, and now she started her own media company, continuing to put out messaging about peaceful transition, democracy, human rights. These are people who are putting themselves and their families on the line to fight for something. And I think it's just a reflection of the resiliency of a people who lived for decades under an authoritarian government. Most people in the country grew up knowing nothing else. And here they are with a chance at a better life for themselves, for their children, one based on rule of law and democracy and human rights, and they just won't give up. And I think that's the message that the security forces are slowly coming to realize is the reality of this situation.
Well, I guess time will tell. My time's up, but before I do that, could you give us an update on getting an ambassador to the country? We're all anxious to see that. I know that's got to be a difficult post to take on, but we need to see an ambassador. I know they've said intent to appoint, but where are we?
Senator, the process is being pushed as quickly as that can be by the State Department, and we will work in partnership with the Senate to hopefully achieve full nomination and confirmation as soon as possible. And I'm very proud and I'm glad you welcomed the role of Ambassador Lucy Tamlin. She's a terrific seasoned diplomat, and she will be very important at this critical moment to support the Sudanese people as they put this transition back on track.
Have you got some experienced people over there you got on a list that are willing to do this? It seems to me that's going to be the toughest thing. Once you get that, making a choice shouldn't be that hard, but it seems it could move faster than what it is.
I agree with you, sir. People are policy, and we're doing our very best to get our best out there.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.